Hello, it is Sara Waggle, astrologer and leadership coach here for Moon Astrology Tarot. This time for the moon in Pisces. This is the full moon partial lunar eclipse. This kicks off eclipse season, though we have been in eclipse energy since September 2nd-ish, when we had the Virgo new moon. And we'll be in it until well after October 2nd, when we have the annular solar eclipse in Libra. However, this is a doozy. I kind of underestimated it before I did a little digging in and really looking futuristically, because this is the first the first lunar eclipse we have in Pisces. These nodes have an 18-year full orbit, but at the halfway, the 9-year point would be when we have the opposing. So if this is a north node lunar eclipse, we would have had a south node in Pisces 9 years ago. So that would have been what, 2015-ish. And then in 2006, 7, we would have had north node in Pisces. Now the nodes do not shift until January of 2025 and will be there until mid 2026. However, this eclipse, because the north node in Aries is at about 6 degrees, this one's within 10 degrees. This full moon is within 10 degrees of that north node. And so that's how we have sort of this out of sign lunar eclipse in Pisces. And so you're going to want to pay attention to, especially if you have mutable sign placements, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, at the end of the sign, so between 20 and 29 degrees. You're going to want to pay attention, because this could show you a lot, maybe even a lot of shit, but it's going to show you a lot of what you need, what you're going to be feeling for the next year and a half. Now, because this is the moon in Pisces, this is, by the way, September 16th through the 17th. But what you may notice globally is, of course, things to do with water. So, rare water events, water storms, oceanic activity, things like that, because it's in Pisces. It's also at 26 degrees, so very near, within 2 degrees of Neptune in Pisces. And so we're probably going to see a lot of activity with waterways, water systems, water supplies, things like that. And so, but in your personal life, it will depend on where those mutable signs land in your natal chart. So once again, if you want, a personal one-to-one single transit reading, we can do that. The link to book with me is below if you want to get some personal info. But let me share my screen so we can look at the chart, give you a little idea, and show you what this is about. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here is the chart. I did do a little bit of marking on it. I've also changed some of my settings, because I noticed, just in listening to some elder astrologers, I wasn't picking up on as many aspects as I needed to for like energy reasons. So while this looks like a lot of different lines, it's not, and that's okay. Okay, so of course we have the sun is at 25 degrees of Virgo, Mercury is at 14 degrees of Virgo, and Mercury is working on his opposition to Saturn at 15 degrees of Pisces, and we have the moon at 25 Pisces. Neptune is in retrograde at 28 Pisces. So we've got a lot going on between the Pisces Virgo axis. So let's just talk about that for a half sec here. Virgo is the physical body, right? I've talked about the digestive system. I've talked about it's mercurial ruled. It rules part of the nervous system, and particularly the nervous system related to the digestive system. Pisces is duality. It rules the feet, as in like rooting yourself into the earth. And so and Pisces also rules things like I said, like water, waterways, things like that. Um, but Virgo is about tangible, like daily applications, daily practices, habits, health habits, particularly daily routines, things like that. And so, um, if you've been around me a while, you know Virgo's not my favorite sign of the zodiac for me personally. I do not have a bad relationship with Virgo people. But I am also not a fan of Virgo energy because I don't like rigid daily routines. So anyway, um, okay, so what else do we have going on? We have Venus having come in Libra at 23, having just come off of an opposition to Chiron at 22, 22. I did mark that because it's 22, 22, 22 degrees, 22 geometric minutes of Aries. And so, but what you're seeing here is because that North Node in Aries is at 6 degrees, this um, eclipse is at 25. So it's within 18 degrees of the North and the South Node. So North Node at 6 degrees Aries, South Node at 6 degrees Libra. Mercury in opposition to Saturn. I mean, Saturn in Pisces is a little difficult to read. I've even talked to some other astrologers, and it's kind of wonky. You could say it's like rigidity and practicing spirituality. Mercury in its opposition to it. We could feel a little um, maybe like rigid minded, um, sort of with that. Um, what else do we have going on? Mars coming off of his square, making sure I have my degrees right. Yeah, he's at 7, Cancer. So Mars coming off of that square to the North and the South node. Um, I mean, there's a lot of emotions being stirred the hell up. And so, like I said, if you have placements at 20, at 20, 21, 22, probably like 24 to 20. I mean, I don't know, anywhere at the end of the mutable signs, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius. Um, you're certainly going to feel this. What I would say though, too, is specifically Pisces, Virgo, if you have placements in these points, um, for Virgo, this would be your Pisces is your 7th house of relationships and partnerships. For Pisces, Pisces is your first house, so which is yourself. So, transformation is inevitable. um, but what's important about this is that this is a precursor to 2025 into 2026 for all of us because this is Pisces. We all have Pisces somewhere in our natal charts, depending on, what house it's in and all of that. Of course, the sun and rising signs are available here on my YouTube. The link is below in the description box, so it is available. But if you really want a specific reading, I'm pretty sure I have all of the dates for the eclipses for the next year and a half. I might be off on some of them, but I did go through the charts for the next year and a half to get a better grasp of this particular eclipse cycle that we're in. Um, anyway, so it's kind of one of those pay attention to what's surfacing, what comes up, what are you feeling, what are you processing through, and therefore ready to release, or maybe not so ready to release, but it's just going to go. Eclipses just kind of eclipse things out. And so with Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, um, these planets just ain't messing around. There's something or some things or some people that are going to be out of your life and they're just going to disappear. There's not going to be any like confrontational fuck off moments. They're just, it's just they're gonna fall away and you'll probably just kind of think of glimpse about them occasionally. Um, But sometimes we have to let people and things and places go because we are no longer an energetic match for them. Our frequency shifts. Um, Anyway, so the other thing to think about with this Pisces lunar eclipse is your health and your health habits. Because Virgo and Pisces is the health and well-being axis. Like if I always think about like Virgo is physical health, Pisces is mental health. And so, um, there could be like a balance there. Are you getting what you need for your physical health? Are you getting what you need for your mental health? Like sometimes your physical health has to take the wayside because you need to have the ice cream for your mental health. I get it. I really get it. Um, but we're going to be thinking about things like what we consume, right? What types of fats are we consuming? Are they overly processed oils, or are they natural animal fats or natural vegetable like avocado or olive oil? Um, it's kind of like thinking about like overly processed foods versus, I don't want to say particularly organic, but like I don't know about anybody else, but I've really been diving into food preservation and like pantry storage and things like that. Like what can I make available? How can I gift it to other people? Kind of thing, so that things are like made from scratch versus, bought. I am certainly one to go to the grocery store and be like, I don't need to buy that. I can make it and it will taste better. Type of person. Um, and I'm not really hugely into actual food preservation, but I certainly like, fresh things versus store-bought things. Um, but Mars on those nodes, that could be really, you might be going through a lot of relationship, like mud, like something may be coming up about relationships or your partnerships or um that you maybe don't want to face or don't want to, confront. But Mars is going to be like, nope, you have to confront it. Same with Venus opposite Chiron. Like there's parts of your wounding that you probably just don't want to look at. I mean, there's a lot of us that like hide a lot of stuff within ourselves and don't want to face it, don't want to talk about it, don't want to acknowledge it, don't want to get, support around it. Um, but these planets are kind of I so I never want to be the astrologer who says it's either now or you're screwed, or it's now or never. And because it's not never, but it's now is a good time. How about that? How about that? Um, I do think it's going to get a lot harder for people who aren't letting go of old ways of being, old habits, old um, wounds and things like that. For people who aren't doing healing work, I do think it's going to get harder as time goes on, just because we're rapidly shifting, we're rapidly changing. It's kind of like, if you're too rigid and you lack flexibility. I have been talking about flexibility, adaptability for over a year. And I still see people who freak out over, the smallest upset in their day. And so it's things like that it's, the universe is going to keep hopping in those little lessons every once in a while. Like, are you ready to be adaptable yet? Are you ready to be flexible? Are you ready to just go with the flow and take a deep breath and know that it's all going to be okay? Trust me, trust yourself. I think there's a lot to do with faith in yourself, trusting God, trusting God's, source, trusting your guides, that kind of thing. Because being that close to Neptune, like your ability to distinguish what's real and what's fake is gonna get. I mean, think about it. Can you tell the difference between AI versus for real? I sometimes can, I sometimes can't. I can certainly tell things that are CGI. Um, but even that, I'm not proficient. I'm not like an eagle eye about it or anything. Um, but there is going to get to a point where our ability to distinguish or discern what's real, what's fake may get um what's the word? May get um fuzzy. Like, is that really real, or was that just a computer generated, was that a real voice, or was that a computer generated voice? Sometimes you can tell in the inflections or in the words or in the language, but sometimes you can't, right? And that's kind of what I mean. So, there is kind of a lot going on here. What else did I want to point out about this chart? Of course, the sun's moving in on a trine to Uranus and Taurus. So, um, surprises could still come our way. We've got a couple of days yet before that trine. Could be good surprises with the sun and Uranus, but it'll be surprises nonetheless because it's Uranus. Wouldn't have it any other way. I kind of think, I mean, there's a lot of like minor sextile transits, sextile aspects and things like that. But nothing I really haven't talked about already. Um, okay. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for this. There's definitely a lot going on. It's definitely just kind of pay attention to what's coming up in your life so that you can get clear on, okay, if this is happening for me in September of 2024, then think about it. The next eclipse season is going to be around Pisces season because the nodes will be in Pisces Virgo by then. So we will have eclipses during Pisces season, which is the end of February to and mid-March. So and then we'll have eclipses during Virgo season. So end of August, early September. So for all my Pisces Virgo friends, yeah. I was there a couple of years ago when it was on the Taurus Scorpio axis, and I'll be there next year for the Aquarius Leo one. So, these can really be a game changer, but they can also be mentally taxing because they are a lot of work. At least that was my when I had like the like real experience of eclipses. Obviously I didn't know astrology all of my life, but for the last time that eclipses were going through my rising sign, I definitely felt them and I was definitely going through it. Um, okay, so you can get a one-to-one single transit reading. Link is below to my Calendly, to my booking. You can get that. You can follow the Aquarius self experiment. You can sign up. That's in the community section on my YouTube. You can get your general sun and rising sign reading is on the link is below in the videos here on my YouTube. And I suddenly have the hiccups. What else? You can buy me a coffee. You can listen to my guest appearance on different podcasts. You can have me as a guest on your podcast. Or guest speaker at your event. What else? Libra season, sun and rising signs will be up before Libra season. I think that's it. I think I'm kind of done. Um, I know there's a lot going on for everybody. We're all going through some level of something. Just know that the planets have you. You've got you, right? You got you. Saturn is working on you, then know that you're getting slammed with Saturn lessons left and right because it's time to change how that goes. It's time to be flexible. It's time to be adaptable. It's time to, okay, I'm not going to repeat that again, for the 10th time, right? I'm going to respond differently. Um, you know, so, but yes, for all my Virgo Pisces friends, here you go. This is the beginning. Um, I will be doing a more in-depth video on the Pisces Virgo eclipses over on the Awakening Spirit Collective. So if you want to join there, it's a monthly membership. Yes, it's an affiliate link. Yes, I get a percentage, but there's several practitioners that are involved over there. So you don't just get me, but you get lots of other supportive practitioners. And we got the Page of Latinum in reverse. Page of Latinum in reverse. That's Dr. Rega. Kind of like something is stunting the curiosity I think this is because like there's no curiosity here because there's a lot of discernment. There's a lot of sifting through. There's a lot of lack of clarity. There's a lot of, just foggy, fuzzy information, but there's also a lot of like potentially intuitive downloads with Neptune involved, and Mercury involved. There's definitely a lot of, potential for creative downloads, but there's not a lot of like curious opportunity to move forward right now. The forward momentum is pretty standstill at the moment and for the foreseeable future. Let's get a clarifier. Oh, we got Judgment upright. Q. Um, Balance, fairness. Um, Things may need to be said. Things may need to be talked about. Things may need to be um cleansed, healed, move them through your body. Um, but I also feel like this could be judgment, like seeing the clear, I don't say truth, but like the fall of something. I keep going back to this like um like something you have perceived to be going a certain way is not going to go that way because there's something about something you just don't know about. I always say that when when I talked about conspiracy theories, I've talked about like the truth or community and all of that. And I don't really resonate with it because at this point, does any of us know what the hell the truth reality is? Right. And I've been down every conspiracy truth or rabbit hole possible. And, I still have no conclusions. And I think that's it, is like we're not meant to have conclusions about any of it. And yet, like, I feel like all people putting all of their faith into a leader or potential authority figure, um, this could come to a crashing halt because justice might get served. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I don't know what or who or what or when. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, in general, people put their faith in another mortal human as opposed to putting faith in themselves and faith in God and faith in the angels and all that. Let's see what's up with the angel tarot. Speaking of angels, I do think, though, there is just an opportunity for all of us to really develop faith in ourselves and our own ability to trust ourselves to make good, discerning decisions or choices. Um, yeah. But I feel like many who put their faith in an external authority figure, that's what I'm saying might come to a crashing halt. That might come to a crash during this eclipse season. So let's see. We got the King of Fire. I'm sorry, the Nine of Fire. Nine of Fire. Fire is represented by dragons. I love. Um, don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Um, have courage and believe in yourself. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, if you don't believe in what you're doing, what you're up to, nobody else will. And, go back to, I've mentioned this before, but go back to like a innovator or an entrepreneur who you are just like, damn, like, but think about how many prototypes or how many potential patents they tried for before they got the patent that got them where they are, right? And they had to just keep believing. Wasn't it Hershey that went bankrupt like God knows how many times before he got to where Hershey is now, which it's not real chocolate, but that's okay. We're not going to go there. There's better chocolate. um, but it's the same thing with anything, right? Like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, like they had how many different computers before the Apple II, was it the Apple IIe, became a thing, and then Jobs left and returned, and all of a sudden they had the iMac and all of that and the iPod, and boom, Apple like exploded, right? So, and Apple hasn't been the same since Steve Jobs. That's just my opinion. But I still like my Apple stuff. But anyway, all right. So hopefully all of that was helpful. Again, the link below to the sun and rising signs for this Pisces lunar eclipse. And if you want to get a one-to-one, like my link below to book with me, I highly recommend a one-to-one right now, not only for these eclipses, but for that Mars in Cancer / Leo, forward retrograde forward again. So you kind of have an idea of what house you might be dealing with, what life area you might be dealing with. I mean, you're probably already aware because it's probably already showing up for you, but it can always give you some clarity as to any planets or points on your chart that might be in the way of, or not in the way of, but in the path of, there we go, that's a better word, the path of that Mars situation. So we're going to be in Mars in Cancer, then Leo, then Cancer, until April 19th of next year, 2025. And so also if you want to work with those eclipses, we can talk about this eclipse and also the other eclipses. So if you are in that Pisces, Virgo, or even Sag, Gemini axis, we can talk about that too. So the links to that are all below. And that's all I got. And I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye for now.